Up everybody, I'm just going to share this real quick in a couple of Facebook groups, and then I will jump on and we'll get this whole thing going. Okay, let's see here. Is it coming up live yet? Sometimes it takes a minute or two, so please bear with me while we do that. Okay. Let me share it to a couple more places, people, and then we will get going. I don't necessarily know that there's anybody watching yet anyhow. Share it to a couple more places. We'll do two more. And we'll do one more, and then I will jump on and actually start doing something a little bit more exciting than sharing it. Hopefully, if you're tuning in, you can share this as well. All right. So now that I am good to go, or as good as I'm going to get, we will get started. And I have exactly 30 minutes that I can read. Page of Stones or Page of Pentacles in traditional tarot. And this is about manifestation and new enterprises. I like to think of it this way. If you look at this card, it is this Lynx coming out of hiding because we haven't done the necessary things to coax it out. Now it's coming out of the woodwork for us. And this is typically as a result of the efforts that we've created and the actions that we've taken. A lot of us kind of believe in this concept of luck, but honestly, what luck really is creating the maximum amount of opportunities for yourself to where inevitably the odds are in your favor. And pages typically are about messages in general. So the general message here is, if you want to manifest new opportunities, or if you want to create new enterprises or have these new situations, you've got to show up and literally do the work. And if you notice, there's this solid foundation. So from a solid foundation, everything can branch out. And then there's this kind of yellow diffused in with the orange. Orange is relative to creative energy. So you build that creativity off of a solid foundation as well, but then it doesn't really mean anything if you don't have the yellow diffused in there. And yellow is relative to the navel chakra, which is all about sense of self, self-worth, self-appreciation, self-respect, all of that good kind of stuff. So do the work, reap the results. Everything in our life is a result of the seeds that we plant. I shouldn't say everything. Most things in life are the result of the seeds that we plant. And the other things, we have the opportunity to shift what they mean to us based upon the choices and responses that we have. Now, with that being said, I'm actually going to draw a card from this other deck here, Mystic Art Medicine. We'll see what comes up. Goddess of Fire. So honestly, fire goes along with this card somewhat, although it's earth. Goddess of Fire is relative to this energy of creativity. And as you notice, there's all of that yellow and orange diffused in there as well. But then there's also this kind of white light bird shooting out of it. I take the white light bird as kind of being this complete meaning, or this complete symbol of our intentions when we infuse it with the orange of creativity and the healing that goes along with that, the yellow of the strong sense of self. There's green diffused in there, which is the heart chakra, which is passion and compassion. There's the blue down here, which is relative to throat chakra. That's the ability to communicate through our creations. Then you have the light purple there, which is third eye. That's the ability to receive information from the cosmic source, from light, from the divine, from the spark, from the universe. And then you have the deep purple, which is that connection to that. So this third eye is the ability to see things with the psychic vision and channel in that information. But when you have that, you're able to also see the unification of that. And one of the cards that came up in the reading that I did earlier was Sacred Union. I think that this is really important to look at too. The Sacred Union is the alignment of all of those chakras and the give and take, the active and passive elements of them, where everything is balanced, and then we shoot this kind of radiant bird up into the sky. And I hope that that's not too metaphorical for people, because I'm not really talking about that in a literal sense. It's more of symbols and metaphors for the actual process that we're hoping that we get by going through all of this. So with that being said, I'm going to move on to the next card. And we have Two of Bows here, or Two of Wands in traditional tarot. It's in the reverse, and this is about progress and discovery. So the aspect of this that I think is most important is, how do I want to put this? There's not progress to be made, and there's no new discoveries if we're not reacting differently off of the information that we're receiving. So it's not making a decision, it's feeling stuck and feeling trapped into a rut already. And it's having our choice taken for us and having something that's supposed to be fun and energetic become a chore. And it's interesting because it has the same sense of fire. So how do I want to put this? This is almost kind of like we don't have a choice but to go through this process of this personal elevation at this stage. We pretty much have to do it. It's either we burn as bright as we physically can, or we can fade out. And I know that that might be scary to some people. It's one of those things that actually frightens me, because on a personal level, I've had experiences of burning incredibly bright, and I've had the experience of burning out. And it's exhausting and it's scary, and it's not something that I really want to have to go through again. But at the same time, it's the alternative of staying stuck and not committing to yourself in a deep way and not trying to push yourself forward isn't really good either. So if it's a choice of go into the unknown and go harder than you've ever gone before, or to sit back and relax on the past, go for it, do it. Buy the ticket, take the ride, as Hunter S. Thompson was one to say. We're going to get on to the next card here, and it is Higher Knowledge. As we begin this whole creative process, we begin to take on this higher knowledge, as I had mentioned in the Goddess of Fire. The more that we put ourselves out on this path, and the more that we get out of our own thinking, and the more that we clear away some of the debris that we've cultivated through our life experience, by taking on other people's stuff, the more easy it is to receive this higher knowledge. But ultimately, we have to put ourselves out there. I heard something recently in one of the audiobooks that I was listening to while I was driving, and the general concept was this. If we are approaching something and the work seems overwhelming, but we are willing to commit to it regardless of how overwhelming the work seems, amazingly, we don't have to do all that is required of us, and there is some kind of divine cosmic assistance. But if we begrudgingly go about this same chore and we begin to put in the footwork half-assed and trying to cut corners, we will actually have to do more than is required of us, and we will burn out and fade away. So ultimately, the more you invest in yourself, and the more you invest in what you're doing over time, the less you will have to do, and the more that it will reward you. But if you go into it with that attitude as well, it might not work out for you. One of the key things that I think is super important to really, really take in at times is this. When we begin to pursue new opportunities, and when we begin to pursue new things, we have to let go of all of the old preconceived notions that we have, because if we approach things with all of the baggage of the past, or all of the expectations that we previously had, we lose the ability to see what actually is. And if, for me, a spiritual awakening and personal development and personal growth is all dependent upon our ability to be present in reality. And higher knowledge is that same thing of being present in reality and seeing through the layers of illusion, and being able to make wise choices and steer our ships accordingly based upon that information. I hope that makes sense to everybody, because that's kind of a deep concept. So I'm going to move on right now, and I'll give this a couple more minutes, and if nobody else shows up, I'm the archer in the reverse position. So the archer in reverse, or the chariot in reverse, is about strength and courage, and showing that there's kind of a lack of strength or courage occurring, and it might be one of the things that we have to really contribute to for higher knowledge. And ironically, I feel like I literally pulled my card here. I had committed to doing 30 minutes, and I'm already saying that I'll shirk back because nobody's watching. This really isn't about other people watching this live. I still need to show up, because maybe the later on viewing of it could be meaningful to someone, and I would hope that it is. So I'm going to take that as do the full 30 minutes regardless. There's only 20 minutes left, and see who else shows up. Now there's this whole sense of, next card is Grace in reverse. So I like to think of Grace, the way that I like to explain this is, picture a duck swimming, and when you picture this duck or this swan moving across the water, you see this smooth gliding creature moving across the surface. Maybe there's a couple ripples, but you don't really see all of the struggle that's going on underneath there. And for me, again, there is the sense of this lack of grace in the whole process. By wanting more recognition for what we're doing than what we're actually doing, instead of just showing up and doing it. And so if you notice all the yellow diffused in here, the yellow is in the reverse, so it's this sense of self not being somewhat fractured, but ultimately coming down to a point to where this whole process of lacking grace and still continuing on despite it is how we begin to cultivate grace. There's also this sense of the green in the card. Green's relative to the heart chakra. You can tell you really love something if, despite having a graceful occurrence, you still keep showing up and doing it regardless and with deep passion and vigor. Then you transition over to the blues, where the darker blue, light purple, I like to say for third eye. There's this difficulty in interpreting the psychic message because it's so fractured, but the more that you begin to pursue what you're after with the lack of grace, the more you'll actually be able to tap into the real types of grace. And I think that that's important. And I noticed that I have a couple viewers. If the viewers are on Facebook or YouTube, could you please say what's up to me? Because I really would like to give some people some cards here. But if you don't say anything, I can't give you a card. So let's see if they're still there. I still got a couple people watching. Come on now, party people. Woot woot. Nope, still no takers. So we're going to keep on moving with this. I'm going to take from the middle of the deck this time and see what comes up. So we have 3 of Cups come up. This is the Joy card. This has been coming up a lot lately, but it's been coming up in the reverse. So the upright one means friendship and community, and as you can notice, there's all of these different cups, and there's these birds kind of having this joyous time on top of the screen. How's it going, brother? Hey, what's up, Nicholas? How are you, bro? Shouting out first names and shit. Hope you're well, man. I haven't talked to you in forever, dude. But yeah, the 3 of Cups is about community and friendship. So it's ironic that one of my homies just hit me up right when the card came up. So I'm going to draw a card for Nick, even though he didn't ask me to, even though he might not be there anymore. So we have 2 of Stones or 2 of Pentacles, which is, in this deck, it's about challenge. In traditional tarot, it's about balance and adaptability. So I would say that right now, Nick is still trying to find that balance and this flexibility with things, and that's kind of always been a challenge. Ironically, because I know Nick personally, as long as I've known him, that's kind of been his card. So hopefully he doesn't mind me airing his dirty laundry. Yeah, right. Totally putting you on blast. I'm sorry, Nick, but I'm sorry, not sorry, I guess is the thing. I do hope you're well, man. I got to talk to you sometime off of this and just catch up with you. Been so busy with things. Are you still where you living at when we last talked? I'm going to draw a card while I wait for Nikolai to answer. So the card overall is the gift. The concept of the gift is having this gift from divine source, this ability to see through the darkness, the ability to kind of communicate with, I don't want to say ascended masters, but to tap into that secret knowledge or that knowledge that the ancients had that many of us have lost sight with, and maybe communicate with the ancestors is the best way to put it. And not in this like superficial way, but on a deep level, kind of connect with the wisdom of those that came before us. And honestly, all of us have that potential. It's just a matter of cleaning up our signal and being able to receive it and letting go of our ability to think that we have all of the answers. So it comes from a place of humility, a place of working towards self-betterment. And honestly, the truest way to receive the gift is just be honest with yourself and really understand where you're at in your own personal journey and process things that way. So Nick, I don't know if you heard me. I don't know if you're still there or not. Are you still living where you were last we spoke? Let's see if he's still there. I don't know. Anyhow, we're going to keep on moving. Let's see. How much time? Tarot. Ten of Wands in traditional tarot is burden or responsibility. And in this deck, it is burden. It is responsibility. Card was eerily accurate. Yeah, dude, it's weird how this stuff works. I don't view it in a sense of fortune telling, but it's pretty accurate in regards to picking up where people need to focus and work on themselves. Using this whole system as a way of personal development has completely changed my life. So Ten of Bows is burden and responsibility. And if you look at the card, there's this character. It's almost this Sisyphean task. Dominican Queen, am I doing readings? I sure am. I'm going to bang out this card, ask your question, then I'll jump to you. But there's this whole sense of the Sisyphean task of carrying these things up this hill and really trying to get to where the spark of life really is again. Honestly, that's all our responsibility is to do the work no matter what. And there's not really any way to avoid it. We either show up and carry our creation to the point of where we can burn it and set ourselves free, or we get crushed under the weight. Dominican Queen, yeah, if you want a card, I don't know if you heard me, just like the video and share it in one of the groups on Facebook, and I will give you a card, and I would greatly appreciate it. One of the other key aspects of Ten of Bows is you have, in one hand, the One of the Magician, which is this great ability to create, and then you have the Zero of the Fool, which is this optimism, but also this kind of rushing into things. So if you're rushing into creating something new without really thinking it through, sometimes you don't necessarily see all the work that's involved, but you have to do the work regardless. And then if you're willing to do the work, you embody the energy of this card when it's in its higher state, or the Wheel of Fortune, which is the other 10, and Wheel of Fortune is karma and destiny. So until we begin to really process some of our own stuff, we're always going to be having the same issues. It comes down to, are we willing to be honest with ourselves, and are we willing to do the work? So if anybody else wants a card, feel free to holler and ask a question or tell me to pull a card for you. I'm going to pull one for Dominican Queen since she's not saying anything. And ironically, we got the wheel card right after the Ten of Bows. So like I was talking about, the wheel comes up. The wheel is about karma and destiny. And it's kind of like I mentioned earlier somewhat, in the sense that there is really no such thing as luck or as misfortune. Life happens, but oftentimes the situations that we're in are a direct result of the choices that we make and the actions that we take. And if you're liking your results, keep moving on your choices. And if you're not liking the results, you really have to think about the actions that you're taking and the choices that you keep making. Sit down and look for the pattern, because I almost without fail can guarantee you, if you look at this at your life realistically, there's this set of behaviors that you act out in every situation that have never been helpful for you. What's up, Patton the Intel Gamer? How you doing? But I hope that is somewhat relative to you, Dominican Queen. Basically, if you like what you're getting, keep doing it. If you don't like it, it's time to change. The other key aspect of the wheel, though, as well, is this sense of everything's cyclical. And if we want to get a new cycle, we make new choices. So thank you so much. So, Patton, do you want a card, or do you have a specific question, or just a card in general? Hey, what's up, Chime? How you doing? And for all my people that are on YouTube, if you haven't already, please subscribe to my channel. I would greatly appreciate it. And like the video. And also, Dominican Queen, like the video if you haven't already. Nicholas, I don't know what you do on Mixer. Oh, you're welcome, Dominican. Thank you very much. Will Boris Johnson win the UK election tomorrow? Wow, that's a heavy question. We'll see what comes up. Cards are saying no. So that's a pretty heavy prediction. And the one thing that I will say about any reading, and if you look at any of the stuff, if you look at any of my stuff, I always say cards show the most likely outcome as things stand now. Because we have free will, all of this is subject to change. But I'm going to say no, and we'll see how it comes up. So there. But the reason that they won't win overall, you have Knight of Vessels in reverse. Knight of Vessels is Knight of Cups in traditional tarot. Cups are about emotions. Because it's in the reverse, it would say that they're kind of not the most charming person, and that they have a lot of emotional issues overall. I know nothing of this person either. I don't follow UK politics. So they're kind of emotionally unstable is one of the things that comes up. Then you have Nine of Bows. They've been able to create a lot of respect with certain people, but there's also this resilience or persistence that's associated with them that allows them to keep pushing forward despite maybe not having the best character. But in the end, you have the Ace of Swords or Ace of Arrows in this deck, and it says power, victory, or clarity. It's in the reverse, so there's this sense of him not winning, him not having the clarity to do so, and him not having the personal power to really garner enough attention. I hope that answers your question. That was pretty in-depth for such a heavy question, but we'll see what happens. So, Chime, what is your question? Oh, the cards are spot on when it comes to Boris manners, etc. Oh, that's good. Yeah, I guess we'll wait and see. The other thing is I never claim 100% accuracy. Does law have feelings for you? Didn't you ask the same question yesterday, Chime? I want to say you did. We'll see what comes up for you, though. Cards are going to say no to that. So you have the Devil card, which is about addiction. I also like to say in regards to relationships, it's about codependency. But the other thing about this too, and you might have to really meditate and think about this, is this could be one of the things where you have to push on despite them maybe not having feelings for you and really see how it works out for you. One of the things that comes up next, though, is King of Stones or King of Pentacles. And it would say that They might see you as a little bit controlling or a little bit overbearing for them. And there's also the sense of you being somewhat cold and isolationist. Yeah, Patton, we'll see what happens. I will say this, I never claim to be 100% accurate, and anybody that does is kind of full of crap, so there's that. And the other thing, Chimay, is you have Four of Stones in reverse, where there's this sense of them not feeling safe or protected or connected in some way. So do they have feelings for you? Cards are saying no, but it could be variable. I would work on warming up a little bit and then not focusing on being such a loner. I hope that's helpful. Kind of blunt and straightforward, no sugarcoating. And as everybody knows, I tend to not like to sugarcoat anything. Tend to keep it 100, as they say. So look, we got 5 more minutes. Maybe everybody can meditate on getting somebody new in here so I can give a card reading to someone new. Okay. Yeah, hopefully it comes out right. If the cards lined up, I would say there's potentially a good chance of that. But we'll see. You're welcome, Chimay. I'm going to do another card to kind of lighten up the heavy question that Chimay asked, or the heavy answer that I gave Chimay. So we have rhythm. This card to me really speaks of finding our own internal rhythm, and there's kind of that green and greenish blue. So on one hand, I like to say that the green's relative to the heart, following what we love and taking actions and living within that. But then there's also the shades of blue in there, really listening to what we love and also voicing what we love. So there's this sense of passion. Then there's the pink in there. Pink is, oh, you're welcome, Patton. Thank you. Like and subscribe if you want. And if anybody wants to kick me a small donation, it goes directly in there. You can see an update within relatively real time. The link's in the description below. And pink is relative to the secondary heart chakra that's often not known about. It's called the bodhicitta, or the emotional heart. And that's also where we find our rhythm. By not being overwhelmed by our emotions, because emotions contain a great amount of energy if we can learn to channel it in a healthy way. But it's often that we let our emotions overwhelm us and distract us and delude us. And all of these things can become incredibly toxic and throw off our rhythm. So if you want to find your rhythm, use your emotions in a healthy way, listen to your heart, and take action upon it, and then speak how you actually feel, because not speaking how you feel pollutes your emotions and corrupts everything. It's kind of an intense process, and it can take years or more to actually solve. What do you need to do to move forward? Let's see what comes up. So, honestly, it taps into rhythm. Again, so you have King of Vessels in reverse. King of Vessels is King of Cups in traditional tarot. And ironically, it's about being emotionally balanced. Because it's in the reverse, it says again that you're not emotionally balanced, kind of like the other card that came up. And if you look at it, there's water in the bottom. What's up, Tessa? There's water in the bottom. Water in tarot is a symbol of the emotions, and this is this person's ability to walk through their emotions in a healthy way and not be consumed by them. So the next thing that comes up after you get emotionally balanced would be operating on the principle of the seer or the high priestess, and this is this passive element of slowing down and really tapping into some of your knowledge and wisdom. It really comes down to slowing down, letting your emotions settle, looking in there for some sort of direction and clarity and purpose, and then making choices based upon that. As somebody who knows you personally, dude, I know that you tend to move very quickly from thing to thing, and slowing down a little bit and sorting some things out would be really helpful. The other thing that's incredibly important here too is the orange on the coat. Orange is relative to the sacral chakra. That's all about sexual energy and creativity. Instead of investing energy chase and tail for a little bit, invest it in some creative ways to help process your emotions. And I think that that's really, really important. Patton, I can give you something for 2020, but let me hit up Tessa first, and then I'm probably going to have to hop off of here. And finally, Nick, the other thing on this for you too is the red. It's just get a little bit more grounded, tap into what's actually going on, and look at situations from a realistic point. Get out of your head, man. The other thing is you have 9 of Cups in the reverse position. This is discomfort and satisfaction. You got to get comfortable and satisfied. And if you look, there's all of the yellow and orange. So again, orange is relative to sacral chakra and creative energy. It's learning to create from a more richer space. But then it's also yellow. Yellow is relative to sense of self. So it's really getting in touch with who you are and dealing with some of the self-esteem and self-worth issues. Because honestly, bro, from somebody who knows you, you're a really solid dude, but you don't really see yourself very highly. And it's not really true how you see yourself. So you got to be a little bit more compassionate to yourself. And when you begin to do that, also not dumping emotions into unhealthy situations, and begin to allow your quote unquote cup to fill up, you're going to feel better. And that's going to allow you to move forward. And give me a call sometime, Nick, and we'll actually have a real conversation and come up with like a strategy for you. So Tessa, what's your question super quick? So while you're going, Tessa, I'm going to do Patton's card, and then I'm going to get off of here because I got to meditate for a bit, take a shower, and then I got to go meet somebody 30 minutes away. So Patton, for 2020, you got 3 of Bows, fulfillment. That's 3 of Wands in traditional tarot, and there's this sense of preparation or foresight where you will create. You've been working on something for 2020, and it's going to come to fruition and completion. Despite everything, you've been really planting the seeds, and it's going to grow into something meaningful. Then you transition to Page of Wands. Page of Wands is about enthusiasm and discovery, and it's about kind of becoming enthusiastic about what you've planted and what you've created, and really getting something meaningful out of what you've been doing. You're welcome, Nick. I hope you're well, bro, and we'll talk soon. I won't have time tonight, but maybe tomorrow or something. But yeah, there's this sense of you'll have a lot of enthusiasm and passion, Patton, and there's also this sense of your emotions flowing freely, kind of using that energy to get what you want. One of the things that might be a little bit unpleasant for you is Ace of Pentacles in reverse. Ace of Pentacles in reverse is still incredibly positive overall, but the thing is, you might have to work a little bit harder to get the rewards of it, and the rewards of it would be manifestation and prosperity. So although there's going to be fulfillment of something you've been working on, the manifestation of the results might take a little bit more effort than you had originally anticipated. But if you begin to continue to put the energy forth, you can build the foundation up for what you're working on and have a pretty bang up 2020. And then finally, my last person, Tessa, if you contact Eretz, what will he do? So there's this sense of, you have 11 in reverse justice. There's a sense that he's going to sugarcoat things and maybe not be fair with you, is how this comes up. Then there's also 3 of Pentacles, where there's a sense of him saying that he'll want to work with you and kind of work and talk through things, but I would really, really, really be mindful considering justice is in reverse, because he might just be trying to get what he wants out of it. And then you transition to 8 of Cups, which is rebirth in this deck. In traditional tarot, it's escapism and disappointment. And I would say that while he might kind of work on building this connection in this community, ultimately it's going to not be something healthy, and you might end up with a similar situation to previous things that you've had. So I would say don't contact them, is the general message that I get, Tessa. So I hope that's helpful. I really do have to hop off of here now, everybody. Thank you all so much for coming on. I'm going to try to do it somewhat around the same time. Maybe I'll try it a little bit later. Let me ask you guys this real quick before I sign off. What time do you think is the best to go live? You're welcome, everybody. Just everybody shoot out a time real quick. I'm in Eastern Standard Time Zone too, so that's helpful. Yes, no, maybe so. All right, anyhow, I'm going to get off of here. Y'all have a blessed day. Peace.